Let's talk about the cycle that our sourdough starter goes through after it has been fed. Hey, I'm Baker Betty. I'm a baking educator, and I fed my starter about 3 hours ago. So it is now kind of early on in the starter cycle, and it probably has maybe 7 or 8 more hours before it runs out of food based on the amount of feeding that I gave my starter. So when you first feed your starter, you're going to give it fresh flour and water, and the natural yeast and bacteria that is living in your starter is going to start consuming the food and creating carbon dioxide gases and alcohols. So we're going to start seeing these bubbles forming on the side from the carbon dioxide gas, and it's going to start moving up in the jar. When I first fed my starter, it was about at the 2.5 centimeter mark. It is now a little over the 4 centimeter mark, so it hasn't quite doubled in size yet. But what I'm seeing on top is a slight domed shape. It's just like barely curved on top. Let me see if I can show you. I'm not sure how well this is translating on camera, but there is a very slight curve on the top of the starter, which is just an indication to me that it still has food and it is still moving up. That curved shape means that it is still working through the food. It is still actively creating carbon dioxide gases and getting more and more active. Eventually, that curve, that dome, is going to flatten out, and it's going to look kind of bubbly on top and almost weak, like it could collapse really easily. This is what we would call our peak point. It is where the starter has run out of food, and it's really, really active right then, but it's going to start becoming less and less active, and it will start deflating and falling down in the jar. Now, ideally, you want to use your starter in a recipe when it is still in that active state. It still is actively moving up and creating carbon dioxide gases. The earlier you use it in that cycle, the more mild flavor your bread will be. And you can kind of tell this by opening your jar and giving it a sniff. Right now, there's not a ton of aromas coming off of my starter. It smells slightly sweet. It's very mild because it hasn't been all that long since I fed it, and I gave it kind of a bigger feeding. Now, here in a few hours, it's going to start changing. That smell is going to start smelling more acidic. It's going to have more of a yeasty smell to it, and the longer I wait, the more kind of sour and complex the flavor of my bread will be. Now, there are other ways you can affect the flavor of your bread. Even if I did decide I need to get my dough going based on my timeline, I need to go ahead and use this now, but I want a more sour bread, there are other things I can do to my dough to increase sourness, like resting my dough in the refrigerator during bulk fermentation or after shaping. That can help increase sourness. But in general, the earlier you use it in the cycle, the more mild the flavor of your bread will be. The later you use it in the cycle, the more sour and complex the flavor of your bread will be. And ideally, you want to use it while it is still in this active state or just at that peak point, because it's going to start getting more tired and sluggish when it runs out of food. We want it to go in the bread while it's still really active and moving for us.